The mind was never built for this much noise. 1,000 voices, 1,000 screens, 1,000 unfinished thoughts spinning like torn paper in a storm, and slowly, silently, your inner world begins to collapse. You've felt this before, haven't you? That moment when your body is still but your mind refuses to rest, when a simple task feels heavy, when a single notification can send your thoughts spiraling into places you don't want to go. If this resonates, stay with me for a few minutes, because in a small apartment overlooking the restless city, a young man named Ren was living inside this storm every day. It was 1:57 a.m. His laptop glowed against the darkness. Tabs scattered across the screen like broken fragments of intention. Work he hadn't started, messages he hadn't answered, questions he didn't know how to face. Ren told himself he would just check one more thing. But one thing became 10. 10 became 30. And 30 dissolved into an hour of frantic searching for something he couldn't name. His breath tightened. His thoughts tangled. His heartbeat echoed in his ears louder than any sound in the room. And for a moment, he felt like a man standing inside his own collapsing mind. Maybe you felt this too. He pressed his palms into his eyes, trying to shut everything out. The light, the noise, the anxiety that kept creeping closer each night. But the silence didn't help. It only amplified the storm inside him. Ren whispered, "Why can't I control this?" But here's the truth. No one tells you. You don't overcome anxiety by fighting your thoughts. You overcome it by changing the way you meet them. Ren didn't know that yet. He didn't know that anxiety wasn't his enemy. It was a signal, a map, a teacher trying to pull him toward a different way of being. He didn't know he was only one step away from an ancient discipline that once trained samurai to walk into battle with a mind as calm as still water. A discipline few in the modern world remember. A discipline called Seishin Chōwa. And this moment, this quiet, sleepless night, was the beginning of everything. Before we continue, tell me in the comments if you've ever felt this. Because Ren's journey may be closer to your own than you think. And what comes next will change everything. The days that followed felt like a slow unraveling. Ren kept telling himself he just needed rest, a weekend off, a reset. But every morning the storm was waiting for him before he even opened his eyes. He tried to start strong, a to-do list, a promise to focus this time, a deep breath. But within minutes, the cycle returned. A single email triggered worry. A small task became overwhelming. His thoughts splintered into a dozen directions he couldn't follow. He felt his chest tighten again, not enough to panic, just enough to remind him he wasn't in control. Over the next few weeks, the pattern repeated itself with painful precision. Start, spiral, shame, repeat. At work, Ren stared at spreadsheets that once made sense but now felt like a foreign language. His co-workers moved quickly, speaking with clarity and confidence. But Ren's mind kept dissolving into noise. During meetings, he nodded along as if he understood. Inside, his thoughts raced. What if they notice? Why can't I think clearly? Why am I like this? He wasn't lazy. He wasn't weak. He was overwhelmed. And the world around him had no patience for overwhelm. Deadlines slipped. Small mistakes grew into bigger ones. His manager asked, "Everything okay?" With that tone that made his stomach drop, Ren forced a smile that fooled no one. Nights became worse. He'd lie in bed, exhausted but wired. Every worry he had avoided all day came back with sharper teeth. Work, money, expectations, future, identity. Everything merged into an internal pressure he couldn't release. He scrolled through his phone hoping distraction would help. It only made the noise louder. Some nights, he paced around his apartment because sitting still felt unbearable. Other nights, he sat frozen on the edge of his bed, too tired to move, too anxious to rest. His friendships began to fade. He canceled plans. He stopped replying. He didn't know how to explain that he wasn't busy. He was mentally collapsing. And then came the comparison. People around him seemed to be improving, growing, building careers, relationships, discipline. Meanwhile, Ren felt stuck in a loop he couldn't escape. Weeks turned into months. The real breaking point came one crowded afternoon on a subway train. A stranger's ringtone pierced the air, sharp and repetitive. Someone brushed past him. Another person's conversation overlapped with the screech of the rails. It was too much. Ren's breath stuttered. His vision blurred around the edges. His heartbeat throbbed against his ribs like something trying to escape. He grabbed a metal pole to steady himself, but his hand trembled uncontrollably. For a moment, he thought he might collapse. Right there, between strangers who would never know his name. When the train reached the next station, he stepped off and sat on a cold bench. His head dropped into his hands. He wasn't just stressed. He wasn't just distracted. He wasn't just in a rough patch. Something inside him was breaking, and in that empty station, surrounded by noise he could no longer endure, Ren felt a painful truth rise through him. His mind was not his ally. It had become his battlefield. And awareness, as sharp as it was, offered no comfort, only the realization that he couldn't keep going like this, not anymore. 3 days after the subway collapse, Ren wandered through the narrow back streets of the city. He wasn't looking for anything. He was simply trying to breathe somewhere quieter. But the city had a way of answering questions he didn't know he was asking. A small wooden sign hung over an old doorway, almost invisible between two modern shops. The characters were carved by hand, weathered by sun and rain, a place the old masters called the Hall of the Inner Path. Ren stepped inside. The air felt different, still, cool, as if the room itself were exhaling. An older man swept the floor in slow, deliberate motions, not rushed, not distracted. Every movement was intentional, like he was tuning the room rather than cleaning it. He looked up, eyes steady but gentle. "You're carrying too much noise," the man said. Ren stiffened. He hadn't spoken a word. The man set the broom aside. "My name is Hayato," he said. "Sit." Ren obeyed before deciding to. Hayato poured tea into 2 small cups. He inhaled the steam with a long, steady breath, one that seemed to settle the room itself. Then he spoke the words that would redirect Ren's life. Seishin Chōwa. Mind harmony. He let the phrase linger in the air, soft but powerful. Poetic translation, Hayato said quietly, the quiet tuning of the spirit. Literal translation, mental adjustment toward balance. Ren frowned. "It sounds peaceful." Hayato shook his head gently. "It is not peace. It is alignment." A samurai could not afford peace. He needed clarity inside chaos. He told Ren of a centuries-old practice once used by warriors before battle. A method to prevent fear, anger, and intrusive thoughts from flooding the mind. A discipline reserved for those who understood that the greatest victory was over. Oneself, Hayato described an old scroll his teacher once showed him. A lone samurai kneeling in the rain, eyes closed, breath steady, blade untouched, not preparing to fight, preparing to feel nothing unnecessary. "That is Seishin Chōwa," Hayato said, "to let your mind be loud, but unmoved." Ren felt something shift inside him, a small crack in the wall he had built around his pain. "But how?" he whispered. Hayato smiled faintly. With a single finger, he tapped Ren's chest. "A chaotic mind is a defeated warrior. The words landed with the weight of truth. "This is where your real journey begins," Hayato said. And for the first time in months, Ren felt the faint outline of a path. Ren returned to the dojo the next morning. The city was already awake. Horns, engines, footsteps. But inside Shindokan, the world fell into a gentler rhythm. Hayato waited, kneeling beside a low table, a single candle flickering between them. "Today," he said, "you begin learning how to hear your mind without obeying it." Ren swallowed. His chest still felt tight from the weeks before. But something about Hayato's presence slowed the noise, even if just a little. The first lesson was simple. Sit, breathe, and allow thoughts to rise without grabbing them. It sounded easy. It wasn't. Within seconds, Ren's mind fired in every direction. Work, bills, conversations, mistakes, fears, imaginary futures. His leg bounced, his shoulders tensed. He opened his eyes. "I can't stop thinking," Ren muttered. Hayato shook his head. "You're not here to stop thinking. You're here to stop chasing." Ren frowned. He didn't understand yet. But this was only the beginning. Hayato's story unfolded slowly across their early sessions. He had once been a kendo champion with a temper that nearly cost him everything. Matches, friendships, and eventually his mentor's trust. He trained relentlessly but lived in constant inner conflict. His teacher gave him one final chance: master Seishin Chōwa, or walk away from the path entirely. "That discipline saved my life," Hayato said, "and now it will save yours, if you let it." Ren listened, skeptical but hopeful. Hayato taught through demonstration rather than lectures. He performed a single silent bow, then held still, completely still, for nearly a minute. Not rigid, not stiff, just present. Ren felt his nerves quiet without understanding why. "This is the first principle," Hayato said. "Stillness before action. A calm mind is a strong mind." Ren repeated the phrase in his head, but repetition was not mastery. He was about to learn that. Over the next weeks, Ren followed a simple daily routine Hayato gave him. 5 minutes of silent breathing, 10 minutes of attention anchoring, 1 moment of deliberate stillness before any important task, easy in theory, unforgiving in practice. On the first morning, Ren sat on the edge of his bed. He set the timer, closed his eyes, and immediately his thoughts exploded. The meeting later, the message he forgot to send, the embarrassment from the subway, the fear he'd never get better, the panic of trying to calm down when calming down felt impossible. His breath sped up. His chest tightened. He opened his eyes after 30 seconds, shaking. "That's it?" he whispered. "Why is this so hard?" But he didn't quit. He went to the dojo after work. Hayato saw the tension in Ren's face. "You tried," he said. "That is enough for day 1. Ren's voice cracked. It didn't work. Hayato poured tea, calm as a resting lake. "You are not training for victory. You are training for endurance." The words pierced deeper than Ren expected, but something inside him steadied. He returned the next day, and the next. Progress was slow, almost invisible, but it was happening. 1 month in, Ren experienced his first real setback. Work exploded with deadlines. 3 projects collided. His manager grew impatient. Ren felt the pressure building again, the familiar panic rising, the same crushing tightness in his chest. At his desk, he nearly spiraled again, lost in the frantic rush of incoming emails and overlapping tasks. "What's the point?" he muttered. "I'm not changing." He left the office feeling defeated and headed straight to the dojo. Hayato greeted him with soft eyes but firm posture. "Tell me what happened," he said. Ren unloaded everything, every mistake, every fear, every worry. Hayato listened quietly. Then he said, "Noise does not disappear. You learn how to meet it." He placed a small wooden bowl on the ground and emptied a cup of water into it. "This is your mind," Hayato said. He tapped the bowl's rim lightly. Ripples shook the surface. "This is the world." He placed his hand above the bowl. His shadow blocked the overhead light. The water calmed. "And this," Hayato whispered, "is Seishin Chōwa, stilling the internal ripples even when the world shakes." Ren stared at the bowl. For the first time, the idea wasn't abstract. It was visible. "Try again tomorrow," Hayato said. "Come back stronger." Ren nodded, breath slow, shoulders lighter, but he didn't expect what came next. The next 12 months became Ren's true training arc. He learned to anchor his breath, to pause before reacting, to sit in silence even when his mind hated it. Some days he failed completely. Some mornings he nearly quit. But Hayato reminded him, identity beats motivation. Ren repeated that line dozens of times. It became his internal shield. Small victories began to appear. He finished tasks without panic. Co-workers noticed he looked calmer. His sleep stabilized. He wrote in his journal, "I'm starting to feel like myself again." But setbacks still came. Old habits returned unexpectedly. Late-night spirals tried to pull him back. Some days felt like day one all over again. Hayato simply said, "Return to your breath. Return to your center." The rituals deepened. Hayato taught him walking meditation. Steps aligned with breath, he practiced candle-focused training, gazing softly until the mind settled. He learned kokyu-sei, a breathing method used by old swordsmen to regulate fear. Ren felt change. Slow, subtle, but real. A turning point. One evening, during a stressful deadline, Ren felt the old panic rising. His chest tightened. His mind raced. But instead of spiraling, he closed his eyes and breathed. One breath, 2, 3, like Hayato taught him. The panic softened, Korditi returned. He completed the task in one focused hour. For the first time in years, he realized, he wasn't being controlled by his mind. He was guiding it. A calm mind is a strong mind. At the end of the year, Hayato led Ren outside the dojo at dawn. The sky was pale gold, the air cool and clean. "This is your final lesson," Hayato said. "Stand, breathe, feel." Ren closed his eyes. He inhaled deeply, and for the first time, the silence inside him wasn't forced. It was natural. Hayato watched him with quiet pride. "You have learned Seishin Chōwa," he said. "Not perfectly, never perfectly, but enough to meet the world with clarity." Ren opened his eyes. A year of struggle, discipline, collapse, and rebuilding flowed through him. He was no longer the man who quietly panicked on a subway platform. He was someone new, someone aligned, someone whole. He didn't know it yet, but a transformation had already begun. Hayato waited until Ren had endured months of storms before revealing the deeper structure, the system behind Seishin Chōwa. "Discipline must have a shape," he said. "Otherwise, it dissolves under pressure." He called it the 4 pillars of mind harmony, a framework once used by samurai to prepare for chaos, and now used by Ren to rebuild the architecture of his inner world. Breath governs fate. Hayato placed Ren's hand on his chest. "Your breath reveals your truth," he said. The samurai believed the breath was the bridge between emotion and clarity. Modern neuroscience agrees. Slow, diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, decreasing amygdala activity and lowering anxiety. Ren practiced. 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 6 to 8-second exhale. This extended exhale calmed his internal storms within minutes. Have you ever noticed how your breath changes before your thoughts do? It's the first doorway into Seishin Chōwa identity greater than motivation. breath greater than fear, one thought, one focus. This was the heart of the practice. Hayato drew a single line with a brush on white paper. That line, he said, is one intention. No noise, no split mind. Psychology calls this selective attention, the ability to hold one cognitive thread while ignoring others. Ren trained this through candle focus, single-task workbursts, and daily attention anchoring. Be honest, does this happen to you too? You try to work and your mind pulls you in 10 directions at once? This pillar rewired Ren's habit loops through neuroplastic repetition. Focus became his identity, not his struggle. The mind of space. This principle taught Ren the power of the pause samurai used Emma, the intentional space between actions, to avoid impulsive mistakes in battle. In modern psychology, this mirrors response inhibition, the skill of inserting a conscious pause before reacting. Ren practiced 3 forms: pause before speaking, pause before checking his phone, pause before responding to stress. This single habit changed everything. What happened next surprised him. He stopped spiraling, he stopped reacting, he started choosing. A calm mind is a strong mind. Emotion in order. This was not suppression, it was alignment. Hayato taught Ren to name emotions before being consumed by them. Neuroscience calls this affect labeling, which reduces limbic activation and restores prefrontal clarity. Ren used a simple formula. I feel because Reese, and right now I will breathe. This practice weakened the power of overthinking loops and rewired emotional responses. Have you ever felt this shift inside yourself, when naming a feeling suddenly makes it smaller? That was Seishin Chōwa working through him. By the end of these lessons, Ren understood the truth. Mind harmony wasn't mystical, it was practical, trainable, repeatable, a system anyone can embody. And soon, he would prove it. Transformation never arrives all at once. It comes quietly, like dawn light slipping through a paper screen. That's how Ren's new life began. The first changes were almost invisible. He woke up with less dread. His breath no longer trembled in the mornings. The noise in his mind hadn't disappeared, but it no longer dictated his direction. At work, he paused before opening his laptop, a single breath anchoring his attention. The same tasks that once shattered his focus now felt manageable. A coworker named Aiko noticed first. "You seem calmer," she said one afternoon. Ren blinked. Calm wasn't something he had been called in years. He didn't know it then, but the 4 pillars were beginning to reshape the architecture of his brain. Neuroplastic pathways that once fed anxiety were being replaced with deliberate, stable patterns. A calm mind is a strong mind. 3 months later, the changes became undeniable. Ren finished projects early. He began organizing his days with intention instead of fear. He stopped spiraling over small mistakes and began responding with clarity. At night, his breathing exercises quieted the mental chatter that once kept him awake. Sleep returned. Deep, unbroken sleep. One evening, he saw an old message thread from a friend he hadn't spoken to in months. For the first time, he didn't feel guilt when he opened it, just presence. His friend replied instantly, "Bro, where have you been? You sound different." And he was. Identity beats motivation. Every day, Ren became more aligned with the man he wanted to be. But transformation is never linear. One rainy morning, everything collapsed at once. A sudden deadline, a tense meeting, a misunderstanding that left him feeling cornered and overwhelmed. The old tightness gripped his chest. Thoughts began to scatter. His breath weakened. For a moment, the past tried to reclaim him. This was his breaking point. But then, something finally snapped. Not in panic, in clarity. Ren closed his eyes. He inhaled slowly. 4 seconds. Held. Exhaled. The world softened. His focus sharpened. The noise dissolved into stillness. He used every pillar. Kokyusei, steady breath. Ichinen shuchu, one intention. Ma no kokoro, the pause before reaction. Jocho seiri, naming the feeling, then letting it settle. He returned to the meeting with a level voice and a steady gaze. A coworker whispered later, "I don't know how you stayed so calm." Ren just smiled, because he did know. Months turned into a year. He wasn't practicing Seishin Chōwa anymore. He was living it. People noticed. His manager praised his clarity. His parents said he sounded different on the phone. Friends said he seemed more grounded, more present. But the biggest change came from within. One night, Ren stood by his apartment window, the same place where, months ago, he had collapsed under the weight of his own thoughts. But now the city's lights felt gentle. The noise felt distant. His breath was steady. He whispered to himself, "I am no longer the man who ran from his mind. I am the man who meets it." This was the moment Hayato had trained him for, when discipline becomes identity, and identity becomes freedom. Ren returned to the dojo one evening just as the sun dipped below the rooftops. Master Hayato swept the same wooden floor, movements steady as always. "You've changed," Hayato said without looking up. Ren bowed. "Because of what you taught me." Hayato shook his head. "I didn't teach you peace, I taught you alignment. You created the peace." Ren felt the truth settle deep inside him. He had walked through chaos. He had rebuilt his mind. He had become someone new, someone whole. And as he stepped out of the dojo into the soft night air, he realized Seishin Chōwa wasn't a technique. It was a way of being. His transformation wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't the kind people brag about. It was quiet, disciplined, rooted in presence, and it had changed his life forever. In the end, Ren did not conquer the world. He conquered the part of himself that once believed he was powerless. That is the quiet truth behind Seishin Chōwa. It does not promise a silent world. It promises a silent center within the world, a place the noise cannot touch. As Ren walked home from the dojo on that final evening, the city moved around him. Cars passing, voices rising, neon lights flickering against the pavement. Nothing had changed, and yet everything had, because the battlefield had shifted from the outer world to the inner one, and for the first time, he was winning. This is where his story becomes yours. You too live in a world that demands your attention, fractures your focus, and feeds your doubts. But within you, there is a place of alignment, a still point waiting to be reclaimed. Seishin Chōwa reminds us that harmony is not the absence of chaos. It is the discipline of meeting chaos with a centered mind. It teaches that breath is an anchor. Stillness is a weapon. Presence is liberation. A samurai once knelt in the rain, learning to be unmoved. Ren learned in a crowded city. You will learn wherever you stand now, because the path is not ancient or modern, it is human. And somewhere, in the space between your thoughts, there is a quiet rhythm waiting to be rediscovered. Step into that rhythm. Let the noise pass. Let your mind settle. And listen. Because clarity begins in the silence that follows. Stillness over chaos. Clarity over fear. Presence over noise. Let these words settle in you. Let your breath guide your direction. Let your discipline shape who you become now. Breathe. And when the silence arrives, trust it. Share this with someone who needs it.